This is one of the two irrigation station boxes that I built this year. Basically just a glorified box with a flip top lid that keeps the rain and the sun off the sensitive bits. So I'm on a irrigation district, so I get kind of free irrigation water, or flat fee irrigation water, through the summer months. It comes out of this spigot and energizes all these other valves to go to the various irrigation zones. I've got this kind of hard plumbed in there. The female hose adapter things tend to be kind of leaky, so put a permanent hose clamp on there. The water flows in here through these. I got two 3/4 inch inline strainers made by Banjo. I think the first one I think is a 250 mesh, and the second one's 800. So not 100% sure on that, but they're color coded, so you can figure it out. The first one gets kind of the bigger bits, and the second one gets anything smaller. So water flows over here through whichever valve is opened by the irrigation controller thing there. And I've been pretty happy with this orbit setup. It's pretty easy to adapt to whatever you want, and pretty flexible. Like I said, I did have one of these valves fail after a couple of weeks, so hopefully I just got a bad one and it's not an ongoing reliability issue. This is another hose thing, so like I could water something else off the irrigation spigot if I wanted to, or if it's a time of year when water's not coming out of there, I could energize this whole thing with city water by running a hose over here. This first zone is actually going over to fill up the tanks over there, and then the second one is these potted plants around the porch, and we've got a line of fig trees and the grape arbors, and then another line of trees down the driveway. So I'll go into more detail on the zones a little bit later. So let's go look at the other irrigation station. This is the other irrigation station. Maybe secondary, but a little bit more complicated. So that first zone I've got over there is when it runs, it fills up these two water tanks, and then these tanks are plumbed in as the source to this booster pump over here. And so it's coming straight into there. Then again, I've got the inline strainers, same size or same mesh size, but these are 1-inchers plumbed in there. This is the Drummond, I think they call it a shallow well pump. Got it from Harbor Freight. So when the system's asking for water, it'll turn on to keep it pressurized. This is like a back check valve, which is really discovered that's important, because otherwise the pump won't hold pressure. It'll pressurize and then turn off, and then all the pressure will run back to the source. So you need that. And then originally I had just kind of regular vinyl tubing making these connections, but it was really like puffing out and sucking down on the when the pump was on. Like just looked like it was going to fail eventually. So I definitely want to use hard or rigid pipe as much as you can, but I did need flexible connections to get things done here. But this braided vinyl stuff is holding up a lot better, so I would recommend definitely that over the regular vinyl tubing. And then again, I've got a bunch of zones here currently Two of them are still to be built, so they're in there, but still need to put in the raised beds. That's like future development that's going to happen. And again, this is a hose thing there, so if I want to run the irrigation zones off of some other water input, like the city water, or maybe just coming straight from the irrigation district, then I could put that in there, which I might wind up doing. I put in these water tanks thinking that the irrigation district water might not be super reliable, and also this whole setup's just kind of a proof of concept for a more off-grid situation where gravity fed might not be suitable. So the source lines for the irrigation zones come through here over to the side fence. Got this board thing created over them so don't trip on them, and they run where they're going to go. But I want to point out that I've got some other valves on some of the lines here if I want to throttle them down to try to get the flow that I want. The pressure from the pump might be a little much sometimes depending on your irrigation dispensers. I just opened the valve on 3 and the pump is kicking on. So this irrigation zone is these 3 cherry trees, and then there's a raised bed in there in the eggplant forest. This has got a 360 kind of nozzle on it. The whole line is a 1/2 inch. So it's a 1/2 inch 360 sprayer there. I've got some other potted plants around it to kind of catch some of the overflow. Big old eggplant. So the trees, I've just got a two port manifold coming straight out of the 1/2 inch pipe. Originally I had this same kind of 360 sprayer at every tree, but felt like I was getting a lot of water not going to the trees and going to the surrounding grass and stuff, and it's just not the best pattern. So I'm pretty happy with these manifolds I've got going on now. These 4 trees plus these 2 raised beds are another irrigation zone. Kind of overgrown here at the moment, so a little bit hard to tell, but it's a 1/2 inch line, same as that other tree line. 2 port manifolds on every tree, and then at the end here, these 2 raised beds are also coming off 2 port manifolds to just got straight tees. That these beds didn't do quite as well. They're kind of acting like they're not getting enough water. I'm not, so they need to adjust what's happening there or what's planted there. There's the tree watering action. And this is the retaining wall I put in. Get all this line on the same elevation. This line of raised beds is the last watering zone in the backyard. I actually ran this in 3/4 inch poly pipe, which may or may not be required. And then the detail I didn't show on the other zones is what it's there is the clean out cap, so you could just blast water through the main line, which might help clear out any debris. I went through a few iterations on my irrigation heads on these beds. I originally had some 360 sprayers, but I was really seemed like I was getting a lot of overspray and not as much in the beds as I wanted. And then I went back down to 90s, which was a little better, but still the same issue. So at this point I'm just running a straight L on each side, and then in the center I've just got 2 straight T's, which are offset a little bit to try and get the entire center. But and you'd think maybe it wouldn't work so great, or you'd think the water might be a little patchy, and it might be, but just noticed this one doesn't seem like it's spraying much. Might have some debris in there or something. Need to check that out. But overall, it's like this setup's been working pretty well for me. These are like gooseberries and currant bushes in this bed. And this bed is all kale. And green peppers. You can kind of see the intention here with the watering pattern a little bit more. Oh, the water just turned off. I only turned it on for a few minutes. There's a tomato forest. Not so much using the trellis part, but this asparagus and some zucchinis. So these 3 big units here, and all these pots around here are all running off a 1/2 inch line, kind of wrapping around everywhere, and then it's feeding 1/4 inch drip line. So this is the drip line kind of figurated around in there. There's the entry on the drip line, and it's doing a circle sitting there. I'm not super. The drip line is kind of convenient, especially. I mean, this is kind of a hard area to get any other way, but to me it seems like the drippers aren't super consistent. Like sometimes one of the drippers is putting out a lot and one of them's not putting out any, so it's a little bit hard to know exactly how much you're getting. But I mean, things are staying alive in here. Some little eggplants and peppers. Bunch of onions. I've got the main line's teed off to here to a 4-port manifold. It's wrapping around all these big containers. Some of these are kind of done for the season, but use a lot of stakes to keep your drip line in place. Other irrigation zones are over here. One of them is this line of fig trees along the fence going down here. Got a 1/2 inch pipe being run the whole way, and then each tree has 1/4 inch little pipe coming off of it with 2 4-gallon-per-hour emitters, one on either side of each tree. See if I can see the other one. It's in there somewhere. But yeah, these figs are doing really well. Better than I expected, kind of. They're Chicago hardy figs, so I got a few. They taste a lot like Black Mission, which is fine. I need to prune them back a little bit. And then the line continues down the fence to these raised bed arbor things. This is the hardy kiwi, and each plant in the bed again has two 4-gallon-per-hour drippers. These are the grapes. The final zone is these fruit trees along the driveway. Basically setting them up the same as the ones in the backyard. The 2-port manifold, spraying into some rocks to contain the water a little bit. And it's all off of a 1/2-inch irrigation poly pipe. Maybe one of the kitties messed up my angle here. And right here is the zone clean out.